Well, here we are again, out and about. This is, I think, December 23rd. I think it's early afternoon. Out doing a walkabout. This is like North Cary area. I haven't really gone this way much other than a couple times I drove it. But man, there's a lot of freaking apartments in this zone hiding. And we're talking about a lot of residencies hiding by thousands of people that can be absorbed by these apartments, especially these ones like over here that are 5 stories tall like mine. And there's a dozen buildings like that. So always interesting. I noticed that my post yesterday, I think on some of the platforms it got cut off a little bit just because of the length of it. The other platforms it's got the full thing, but basically this time of year is normal. They do a lot of reflections of your year in review. That's kind of what I've been doing, obviously, and I have more time to mentally think about that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I got lots of different ideas and opportunities that are in the works right now, and I won't really know anything until probably January, February at the earliest. Then I'll start getting a little nervous, basically, because my visa ends at the end of March. So, and I like to have some decisions made by then, whether I'm relocating, staying in the zone, and exactly what I'm doing from the power sports industry standpoint, which I plan on staying in after being in it for 40 years and being fairly good at it. So I'm looking at possibly dealership GM stuff again, and I have a couple in the works for that already, as well as some OEM stuff, which I have 4 in talks now. So hopefully one of those will come up with something. A couple are in zones I'm actually excited about, but maybe I'm not as excited about the particular opportunity. Other ones are, I really like the opportunity, but I'm not as excited about the location. So it's catch-22 on some of those cases. Part of me likes being in one place. Part of me likes the idea of helping multiple dealers in different ways, whether it be from an OEM standpoint or from basically some other industry or some other business that's associated with power sports and helps out in that regard. So we'll see what ends up coming together. The nice thing about it is I got lots of nice people that have been talking to me and keeping me in their ideas, so that's good. I spin around because I have Haley, and sometimes it gets twisted around me. But beautiful day today. 12 degrees warmer than yesterday at the exact same time, because yesterday was just hitting 50 and the high was like 52 yesterday. Today it's at 62, I think, and it's supposed to be around potentially 63 or 4 for the high. So good stuff. But let's go into the new year, reflect on your stuff, look at what you accomplished and obviously what you didn't accomplish, and think about, okay, how can I better myself? What do I want in life? That kind of stuff. But basically, like for myself, now at my age, and I'm not ready to retire yet, I still feel like I got too much to give, and I want to still build up my 401k a little bit more too before that day comes. But at the same time, now I realize I don't want to keep killing myself with 65-hour work weeks. I also, which I've been doing for decades as a GM and SM in the power sports business, and I definitely think that in that business to succeed, that's almost a requirement. And it's kind of sad. That's just kind of the way the American way is about that. I don't mind doing that every once in a while, because of events or a busy particular time. But when it's every single week for years on end, it gets a little old. So that's why I'm looking at my options right now. And everybody should, if I have to relocate, let's pick a place you want to go to, not just because you feel like, oh, well, there's a job there. Now, obviously, some of us get more desperate at times. About 8 years ago or so, I was much more financially strapped and challenged and stressed over trying to find another job in between losing that last job before this one. So I seem to be going in 7-year increments, because the last one lasted about 7 years too. But before that, I did have 15 years at one place. So I'm kind of the stable one. I'm not the one that jumps every couple of years. I like finding a good place or a good business and then sticking with them and trying to make them better. And luckily my success rate is 110% because I've never left a place not better than it was when I came, and usually a lot better than it was when I came. So I feel good about that. I've seen some businesses that went from small to massive, and I've been part of that. And then I've been also ones that were just basically big but stale, and we re-energized them. So that's kind of cool too. So I feel good with that kind of stuff. So it's just now finding the right place, the right opportunity, and that's what everybody should do if they can, to make any major move. You know, especially if I'm going to relocate to a whole nother potential state. I'm going to make sure it's something I really want to go to. So, and the good news is, like I said, I think I've mentioned before, I'm financially sound enough that I can drag this out for a while until I find just the right gig for myself. So that's a nice feeling. A lot less stress to get what you want. And for those who are asking, I'm thinking I want to move down to Florida. I think I'd be more excited about that location. And maybe I'm getting old and just want to be in more warmth year round. I do worry a little bit about the humidity of the summers, but after talking and going down many times now for both business reasons and talking to people that live down there, coastal is generally not as bad as inland. If you go to Orlando, you just got 6 months of high heat and humidity and miserable. But if you go to Fort Myers, Tampa Bay, Palm Beach, all those areas that are coastal that have the ocean breeze on them, yes, they get hot and humid, but if you actually check the temperatures and humidity levels, they're not any greater, or they're actually less than Raleigh and Durham zone, central and eastern Carolina. So now obviously we only last 3 months of that here though, and they will last 6 months of that there. So there's where you got to see, can you handle it? I don't know. But I definitely know that I'm not thrilled to be in the cold anymore. So, and I've paid my dues in that, being raised in Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, California, high mountains. Had to pause for a second there, crossing the intersection. Haley's doing some sniffing right now. I'm actually in it's a greenway spot, hiding that I've never been on before. This is already walked, I don't know, 1.5 miles or so. Probably do a 5-mile walkabout basically here. Yeah, when I have Haley, who's my shared custody dog, which I love. Wish I could have her more, but I live in the apartment now, and it's just not as good for her as in my old house with my ex. So not quite the same thing. So I give her basically I get her every 2 or 3 weeks. So good stuff. If you want to see if I can get her in the visual. There she is, a little bit. But anyways, back on, like I said, just what you're looking for going forward, like I said, job-wise and that kind of stuff, location-wise. I did talk to a bunch of people when I was down in Fort Myers and Palm Beach over the last 2 years who lived there year-round, and they assured me that yes, it does get warm, but actually average high temperature in something like Palm Beach or in Fort Myers was actually around 85. If you look at the Raleigh Durham area, average temperature is usually around 88, and humidity levels are actually actually higher in Raleigh Durham than down there. So just, can I deal with it longer? I think I can, especially for the other 6 months, which average temperatures are 75 through the winter, which sounds lovely to me instead of being chilled here. Now, will I miss mountains? Absolutely. I like being near the mountains to go to them, so hopefully I'll make a few excursions up to them before I go, just to soothe some of my desires for that. But that just means I'll have to come back up and visit if I make it to Florida. I've got one offer that I'm fielding right now, or going through the motions, that's actually towards the southwest, so that's something also to consider. So we'll see. But I have turned down a lot of northern offers, as well as I've turned down some areas that are just not as desirable to me, even if they were south. Because I said I want coastal preferred. Basically, I keep jokingly say I want palm trees and beaches in my background. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Would I consider mountains in my background? Yes. What I like about the mountain idea is motorcycle riding, far greater in general. But obviously, you're also very seasonal too, so it's catch-22. So we'll see. Don't know where I'm going to end up, but it's kind of exciting to figure out where it might be. The good news is this is the first time in my personal life, basically, where I've been free to do and go anywhere I want to go with nothing basically holding me here. You know, in the past, you had to have family considerations and, you know, make sure it was good for everybody. But now with the girls basically on their own, doing their own things, and out and about, so and me being separated now, so basically it allows a lot more freedom. It's a little nerve-wracking too, but I think that would be for anybody. I guess exciting and scary at the same time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I did just find a new greenway here. That's just kind of cool. Let me show you my view. Haley's enjoying the checking it out. Looks like another one around another complex nearby me. So yeah, always good to explore, go and walk about and check out things. So yeah, reflections on this year. I did Japan. I did the Alps tour, which was a bucket list item for 35 years on motorcycle. And would I like to do that again? Absolutely. I actually wanted to do the French Alps and they couldn't book enough people for that, so they put me on the Dolomites tour. So, which was awesome too. But it was a little more rushed than I would like. So I'd like to do one that's a little more relaxed and still touring on motorcycle. They got ones where you can ride for a day, rest for a day, ride for a day, and do that over like 10 days. So I think that would be really nice. Then you can enjoy the areas you're in longer and more. So I think that's good. We did go back on my Alps tour, like I think it was Livigno, kind of a mountain ski resort type town high up in the Italian Alps that basically was a cool little town, very tourist trap, very expensive really for the stores that were located there, but at the same time, great views, mountains all around it, of course, like anything in the Alps. And I'd love to go back there and stay there longer. And then we did like ride out of there and stay there actually 2 nights. So that was kind of nice. So lots of things to look forward to. And now I get to look forward to my February trip coming up. And I had canceled it, I think I mentioned previously, and then decided to go ahead and go with it. So we'll see. This is probably my longest video ever. So I better cut it out. I don't know if anybody want to keep watching this. See ya.